very kind of obviously to you, Pat, about how I approach the painting, and but for Joe and for Gordon, basically how I see how painting works is that we're creative on one side and we have the skill on the other, and the idea is to try and bring those things together. Now, my experience has said that if we start with the skill side, because we're that much older and we've got various experiences of feeling not so good in various areas. Most people say they can't draw, and so they get demotivated very, very quickly, and therefore, you know, don't carry on the process to get to the creative side. So I kind of reverse it, and I start with the creative, as if we're playing. You know, we're back to being children again, with a little bit of structure. And we're so lucky now to have, you know, the acrylic paints, because acrylics can do so many things. You can use it like watercolour, and you can use it like oil, but you can use it with lots of different things, with lots of mediums, with texture, and you know, the textures that you can create yourself, but you can buy are fantastic. So I love using acrylic. And you can use oil on top. You can't do oil and then acrylic on top, but you can do acrylic with oil on top. So dependent on what you're doing, but certainly for the abstract stuff, the acrylic is brilliant, and you can just have it that, or you can build up with oil, or pastels, or all kinds of lovely things. So what I'm going to just show you today is what I call the flow method, which you can, you know, anyone can do if you've got just a little bit of understanding of how to do it, to create some really interesting pictures. I think you saw on one of, you know, my black and white painting particularly, the black and the white there are very, very, very solid. That's because it's acrylic house paint. Then you can mix it with artist acrylic, and this tends to be not so, you can have this at any, you can have either of them at any consistency, but if you've got like thick paint and then you do a thinner paint on top, the thinner paint kind of runs into the thick paint, so you get some really fascinating effects. So just bear with me a second. I'm just going to prepare the canvas, and the reason I put the house paint on as a base because it gives it a nice texture for the other colours. Actually, what I've done, this is an old painting that somebody did that they didn't want, and I've just gessoed it. So now I'm going to...
Sorry, you've what?
Gesso. So gesso is what's gesso? It's like a foundation. You don't have to use it, but I wanted to cover the painting.
Does it seal it?
It seals it, but this kind of seals it too. So this is just the house paint, and literally I'm just putting this on and just using what's on the lid. It doesn't have to be too thick, but it kind of gives it a nice base. And you know, you can do this on wood as well. So if you don't necessarily want to use, if you don't want to use canvas, and you've got some wood, you can do it the same. You can gesso it, and you can do this, or you can just do this. So I'm just giving it a...
How do you spell that word?
Gesso, Gesso. I'll show you, I've got them. Actually, can you see it just behind you there, Pat?
Oh,
In
yes.
that pot, that
Yes, I
big
can
pot.
see it, yes.
Primer.
That's it's like a primer. You don't, I mean, some people do it on everything, on a canvas, you know. Certainly you need a base on wood, but some people go straight onto the canvas. So you know, you can experiment and see for yourself. And then also it depends on, you know, what you're doing. You know, some people might do a black background to their picture. Okay, so that's it. That's all I've done there. Then, dependent on kind of what your, let's see if this is fluid enough. Probably a little bit more. So now this is this is acrylic paint.
Have a look at the consistency, because that always gets me. I never know.
So it's kind of, you can...
That's still quite...
Yeah. So what I'm going to do with this is, I'm just going to... Lovely, isn't it? Oh, I just love it. I might just now run this a little. It's quite thick, so it's not going to go, I've got control of it, but just to spread it out. The other thing you can do, and I have got lots of gloves, is you can do it with your fingers, but it makes such a mess. I put some gloves on for this sometimes. So you can literally just spread it out. Very gently, I'm hardly touching. And it's, you know, you never know from one picture to the next what might happen. And what would I say? I kind of get into the zone. Actually, I think it's this one. So the thick is going to be slightly different. That's okay. And again, I might just spread this out a bit. And you'll see what's going to happen. I'm not. It's such fun. And this is black. And I might just spray a bit of water. See how I can play with it. I can go in any direction I want and get different effects. Now with a knife, I can do some extra things. I'm just kind of showing you different examples of how you can play. You'll do your own thing with it, but it's kind of rather nice to see the difference of the consistencies. And then you might just start to let it flow. Isn't it wonderful? And you might help some of it on its way, blending kind of as you go. And you know, I haven't got so many colours on here, so it's rather nice to have decide on your colour palette. I kind of had a thing about yellow today. I wanted to do something in yellow. Sorry, I'll go that way. So I can develop this. I've started something, okay? So I can carry on developing where it's going to go, adding more paint. I like the grey and the yellow. And so I might just drop in a little bit more black here to get the grey, or I could mix some grey. I thought I had some mix, but I haven't, but it doesn't matter. Can you see how it's, because the white paint is that much thicker, yes, and it holds the colour, and then of course you can do it with different colours with the house paint. You know, you can do a multitude of colours. what I might do here is put the black house paint here, and I might put some here. Isn't it lovely?
Right.
Oh, it's not its fault. And then I'm going to spread this out. So you can, it kind of adds a little bit of substance to what you're doing. I could do this with my fingers, but it's so messy. I'm going to take that down, run that in. And, you know, I do, people think I'm a bit balmy because I have like a running conversation with myself as I'm doing it. And then here, it's fantastic, the colour.
It's really lovely.
Oh, I just love it. Unlike with Mary Berry, you don't get flat soufflés. Oh, she doesn't, but you know, when she's teaching people and everything kind of like collapses.
Yeah.
This you can just save it. If it's not right, you can just paint over it and do it again. But you can see how you can develop. I could develop from this a seascape, a landscape, mountains. I can just let it do its own thing. If I spray a little bit of water on and let it run. Let's see, you see what happens. It takes on a little life of its own. Look here, can you see how it's happening?
Marbling.
It's so fascinating. And I'm going to mix some more yellow, but I could drop a little bit more white in here. Actually, I'm going to do it with this. And that's a little bit more fluid. Let's see what happens with that. And then where's this? I got it in here, yeah. This is lovely, I love this, I like it. Hang on, how do I do it now? I can get the paint to move. My hair's in it, is
Yes.
it? Oh, God. Don't worry. So you can create things like that. I can drop some white into that. I'll wash this off in a minute. Okay, are you getting what I'm doing?
Mm-hmm.
Exciting, interesting.
Yes. Looks nice.
So then you can start making your form. You can see how this can begin to do some very interesting things and how I can develop it. It's fascinating, isn't it? And
It's like a cave.
yeah, but you can really, you know, I do say get into the zone. You go off in your own space to how it's going. You know, when I'm doing this demonstration, I'm talking and I've got my energy, different things. But if I'm just doing this myself, I'm just go, where does this want to go? How does that want to be? And then I would find that even if I did it this way round, and I start turning it round, I'll see different things. So I might not land up actually having it this way round. It might be the other way round. And you know, you can just experiment. I don't have it too runny, so it goes off the chart. I can also do other things which kind of give it a different sorts of textures. You can see it's sort of starting to happen.